The only solution to human slavery is a spiritual solution. There is no other solution. We have to change our consciousness from within. To solve the problem of human slavery, which is the result of immoral actions and driven by immoral beliefs, such as Nazism and communism and many other immoral beliefs that we've talked about here today. The human species requires a complete revolution of conscience based upon principles. This is what we need a revival of. We need a revival of true principles in our lives. The word principle is derived from the Latin noun principia, which means first, chief, most important among things. Principles are the first and most important of all truths. Moral principles must first be learned, then taught to others, and eventually made common sense knowledge among the whole human population. And we are failing miserably at that job. Miserably failing at it. Because look at the result of the people and the ideologies all around us. We have blatant Nazism and blatant communism, especially socialism and communism, throughout the entire world. And that's because, as parents, people have not done their moral diligence and duty to raise properly their children in a moral capacity. They haven't raised them. Moral principles must first be learned, then taught to others, and eventually made common sense knowledge among the human population before any true positive change can ever be manifested in human society. Principles have to come first. We have to put those first things first in our lives. Here's the real answer here, folks, in one sentence. Become truly enlightened regarding objective morality and natural law first. Then teach those principles to other people publicly. That is the solution. As simple as it can be stated, that is the solution to human slavery. Natural law is the master key. It is the key that unlocks all the doors on all the gates of all the prisons in human life. Natural law is a set of universal, inherent, objective, non-man-made, eternal, and immutable conditions which govern the consequences of the behaviors of beings with the capacity for understanding the difference between harmful and non-harmful behavior. In other words, beings with the capacity for holistic intelligence. This law in the universe governs our actions, of the actions that we choose to conduct in the world. We make our decisions based on information that we input into our minds, then we act in the world. Our behavior is either moral or immoral, and we receive the consequences through the process of natural law. This is how all laws of attraction of our reality function. The understanding of natural law is centered upon bringing human conscience into alignment with objective morality. So, in other words, we have to bring our knowledge of what is truly right and what is truly wrong into true alignment with natural law, the governing dynamics of morality. Conscience is the definitive knowledge of which behaviors are rights because they do not initiate harm to other sentient beings, and which behaviors are wrongs because they do initiate harm to other sentient beings. The fundamental nature of the human condition of slavery is that most human beings do not have a full and accurate understanding of objective morality, the definitive difference between right behavior and wrong behavior. They don't have that knowledge. See, it sounds strange to even word it in just simplistic terms. The reason we're enslaved is because most human beings don't truly know the difference between right and wrong. That's why we're enslaved. We are enslaved as a species because the majority of people on this planet simply don't have the knowledge of which behaviors are rights and which behaviors are wrongs. And a species like that should not only be ashamed of themselves, they deserve everything that's coming toward them. Every single thing is richly deserved. Let me tell you something, folks. The universe is not broken. The universe does not operate upon chaos. It operates upon law. The universe is working perfectly. It's human beings that are fucked up. Make no mistake about it. This ignorance of natural law then leads human beings to erroneously believe that human behaviors that are based upon the belief in authority are somehow morally legitimate and acceptable, when they are absolutely not morally legitimate at all. As a result, many behaviors which most human beings conduct and condone are completely out of alignment with natural law, which leads to the continuation and furtherance of human slavery. This dynamic is expressed in the natural law of freedom, which states aggregate morality and aggregate freedom are directly proportional to each other. And I'm going to actually write a scientific paper that I'm going to actually try to have peer-reviewed in a scientific journal about the law of freedom. It might be one of my next major projects. This is the law of freedom under natural law. Freedom is governed by a law in creation. The aggregate or collective freedom of human beings is directly proportional to the aggregate morality of their behavior. As morality of a group of people increases, that body of people's freedom increases. As their morality declines and they progressively conduct and condone more and more immoral behavior, they become more and more enslaved. This is a law in nature. It is a law that exists in the natural world, just like gravity, just like electricity, electromagnetism. It's no different than any other physical law. It just operates upon our behavior. And that's harder to see because it operates on our behavior over time in the aggregate sense of humanity as a species. See, this is the law of karma, folks. This is how spiritual karma over a whole species operates. Karma doesn't work the way it does in the cartoons. There's no such thing as instant karma. You don't steal from somebody's wallet, you walk outside and a safe drops on your head. It doesn't work like that. Sorry, but that's not how it works. Collective immorality builds up over time within the population, and then collective freedom is slowly degraded and eroded over time. It happens almost imperceptibly. See, there's a very significant time dilation dynamic within natural law. That's what makes it an occult law. That's what makes it difficult to see with the eyes and just the average human mind. You have to have really large perspective of time to study human history and to study the aggregate states of humanity over long periods of time. You have to have systems level overview. That's why the occultists loved me and wanted me. I'm very good at those dynamics. I gauge them very accurately before I even crunch numbers. I could just see it in my mind, the proportion and how it works. And they want that. That's what they want. If I wanted to, I have 154 IQ. I probably easily could have been an actuary and made millions of dollars. Okay? Actuaries are people who do that types of systems analytics for a living, mostly for Fortune 500 companies. They can see big patterns that are extant in society and societal trends. I probably could have done that because I have that type of an analysis capability of my mind. And that's why the occultists were grooming me. So anyway, at some point, I want to actually formalize this in a scientific way and actually bring an equation into this dynamic. There is an actual mathematical equation of the law of freedom, and this is it. The sum of human aggregate freedom is directly proportional to the sum of moral behavior as it goes from 0 to infinity. Very simple, summation equation. Very similar to, the sum of the forces equals the sum of the masses times the acceleration. It's just like a physics formula. So I'm going to attempt to formalize this at some point. For more information about natural law, I highly recommend that you go to my website, whatonearthishappening.com, if you're not already intimately familiar with it, and certainly watch my feature-length documentary called Mark Passio and the Science of Natural Law, and my 8.5-hour seminar called Natural Law, the Real Law of Attraction and How to Apply It in Your Life. Those can both be found for free on whatonearthishappening.com or purchased in hard copy form. Enacting the solution, or in other words, doing the one great work of ending human slavery. The one great work of ending human slavery can only be accomplished once enough people learn the knowledge of objective morality and natural law, then teach it to others. A massive effort of moral education must be conducted by widely and freely communicating and publishing that critical knowledge via all forms of modern media for all human beings to learn. This occult knowledge is the birthright of every human being. And it is our moral obligation to see that that knowledge is disseminated widely and freely among the human population, because that's the only way we're ever going to win this war for our freedom and our souls. And if we do that, we might still, even at this late hour, stand a fighting chance against these sorcerers of consciousness, who willed their occult knowledge to create and maintain these cults of political power that are just masks on the same face of worldwide Satanism. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your kind attention today.